February 17th.
If you want to stop what's coming, better hurry. Ant-Man.
I don't care who this guy is. This is my fight.
I'm coming for you! You think you can beat me? I am Kane!
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Rated PG-13. February 17th. Get tickets now.
Yay, so that was the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and at the end of this panel we'll be giving out some really cool prizes, and we will be having a cool like little trivia contest, so just stay tuned for that. But for now I would like to hand this over to Diana Yamache Wilson from Black Sisters in STEM, our awesome moderator. Thank you so much. Take it from here.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I hope you are excited. I mean, the panel is going to be amazing, but it's also almost the weekend. So this is going to be a good time. It is also Black History Month. And I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to see all of this melanin when we are talking about STEM. This never really happens. So I hope you are excited, and just let us know where you're calling in from. Where are you in the world today? We want to celebrate with you and see how global we are in this call today. And so I'm going to introduce myself, then introduce everyone else, and then we're going to get into the heart of the call today. So I am Diana Yamache Wilson. I am the founder and lead servant at Black Sisters in STEM, where we are building the largest talent marketplace of Black Gen Z women pursuing STEM and the largest six-figure sorority of Black Gen Z women globally. And so that is myself. I'm so happy to welcome you and be your MC today. And now I want to go to Jessica Esquivel and allow her to introduce herself and tell us all about Black in physics.
Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here. Definitely a Marvel fan and a cosplayer, so this is my jam. I'm Jessica Esquivel. I'm a particle physicist working at a Department of Energy National Laboratory. I am also the president and co-director of Black in Physics. And Black in Physics is an organization, a grassroots organization that started back in 2020 during the civil unrest in our country, to build community across Black physicists, because we are very few and far between. And as of March 28th, 2022, we are officially a nonprofit organization. So we are here to stay. We are here to continue building community, and we are here to change the narrative of who a physicist is.
I know that's right. Come on. We need y'all. So we're very grateful that you guys are here to stay. We're now going to go to our sis Kayla Harrison, representing Black Girls Do STEM. I love to see all of our Black beautiful queens on this call. Kayla, tell us who you are. Tell us all about you and all that you do for us.
Hi, I'm Kayla Harrison. I am a STEM secondary school educator and instructional coach. That's my background. And I am the program manager for Black Girls Do STEM, which is a nonprofit organization located in St. Louis, Missouri. So we do in-person things with our girls in the St. Louis area, but we also serve girls from all over the country virtually as well. So what we really aim to do is show Black girls STEM education in a way that they just may not see it in school. And as a STEM educator, I know that there are some gaps and there are some things that teachers just like don't have the ability to do or the flexibility to do in the classroom, so that all students can see themselves and feel connected to the curriculum. So we really aim to show Black girls that. We have a Saturday Academy on the weekends, and we bring in Black female mentors. In St. Louis, we have places like Boeing, we have Anheuser-Busch. So we work with the girls to show them different kinds of STEM, whether it's creating your own drink at Anheuser-Busch, or it is, learning how to fly an airplane, whether it's, fashion design. We really, really work with the girls to help them find their own passion in STEM in a way they just may not see it at school.
Go to Dr. Roll, representing Black and Astro, and
I'm gonna
can you
assume
guys
that you
hear
were
me?
talking to me. You froze a little bit, but I heard
Oh,
the
okay,
part
got
of my
it.
last name. It's all right. So yeah, I'm Dr. Ronald Gamble. I'm a theoretical astrophysicist at NASA Goddard. I research black holes and relative physics jets in mathematical field theory. I am the vice president of Black and Astro, and we, with Keyshawn Ivory over here, we are trying to put together one of the one of the first groups of Black astronomers, Black astrophysicists, or space scientists together. So one doesn't exist yet. We have NESB, which is a Black Engineers Society. There's Black Chemist Societies, but there's not one for astronomers or astrophysicists yet. And so that's the goal, that's the reach. And I do a number of other things other than my research. I do outreach, DEI. I taught 7 years in academia. And all 3 of my degrees are in physics from North Carolina A&T State University and HBCU. So go Aggies, got to shout them out. Yeah, and happy to be here and talk some science with you guys.
I love it. I love it. Come on, HBCUs. And so Keyshawn, it is now over to you.
Cool. Hey everybody, I'm Keyshawn Ivory. I am a PhD student in astrophysics at Vanderbilt University. Like Ron said, I'm also a part of Black and Astro. I'm the events co-director. So if you're ever on a Black and Astro Zoom call at any point, I will have had some hand in creating that room because that's what I do. So Ron told y'all a little bit about what we do in Black and Astro. We try to create community for Black folks in space-related fields. Certainly, we all remember what it felt like to not have that kind of community. So we're trying to make sure that the up-and-coming students aren't isolated in the way that some of us felt like we were. So I'm also big into outreach. I'm on the American Astronomical Society Committee on the Status of Minorities in Astronomy. So this kind of work is super duper important to me.
Thank you, Keyshawn. And we are lastly going to our sis Brittany with Sisters in STEM. And cannot wait to hear more about you and all that you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Alexandria Joy Muricki. I don't know why I said my full name, but I do on my podcast, so it's just kind of in my nature. I am the founder of Sisters in STEM, which is a multimedia platform and online community aimed at empowering women of color in STEM and also empowering them in their daily lives so that way they can push forward and feel that sense of community, as you were just saying, Keyshawn. Sorry, I don't want to misspeak. I host the STEM Powered Women podcast, which you can find on all platforms. And I'm also a mechanical engineer by degree, but I am a systems engineer by my job, which I work for Dell.
I just love it. I love the variety of experiences and backgrounds today. So we're going to jump into everything because I know that people want to hear from you all. And so the first question, and anyone feel free to answer, movies like Ant-Man has exposed quantum physics to a large audience. How did you personally become interested in the STEM field? Is there a movie or a piece of media that inspired you to explore the sciences? Can you tell us that story?
I can jump in. There was actually a movie called Contact with Jodie Foster. Yeah, everybody. I watched it when I was really young back in the day. Me and my aunt used to just binge watch the Sci-Fi Channel. And it was seeing a woman kind of lead an experiment. She was looking for aliens, so that's very out there. But she was also on the ground using actual large scale experiments to find aliens. And it was seeing that type of representation in the movie that really got me saying I wanted to be a physicist, a scientist. And it was maybe 7 years old that I was walking around saying, I'm going to be an astrophysicist when I grow up, tripping over the word. So I am close. I'm a particle physicist, but the same type of large scale experiments that were kind of portrayed in that movie, those are the types of experiments that I'm working on now. So it's pretty cool to see how it came full circle, I guess.
Come on, speak it into existence. We love that. And so I want to hear from some other panelists. What inspired you? What led you into STEM? How has media played a role in that? I know it has.
Okay, so I'll jump in here. So I literally came out the womb watching Star Trek and Star Wars because of my mom. And so I grew up literally watching like warp drives and light speed starships and all of that jazz in Star Wars and Star Trek. And my mother tells me every time she gets a chance, she'll tell a story about when I was 4 years old and I'm asking her, does the sun have fire? And at that point, she's like, I can't answer these questions at 4 years old. And then I told her at 4 that I was going to work at NASA, which now I do. It's come full circle. But yeah, so that's kind of my like origin story there in STEM. And I mean, I've always been good in science, always had straight A's in math and science through school. And so it was just, it fed into my curiosity, hence why I'm a theoretical astrophysicist. But, I get to use a bunch of math and theories to create new stuff, new science, new physics. And so that's what drew me and some of the creativity I get to use in my work.
We love that. First of all, shout out to the Black women investing in our homes and speaking it into existence. I'm seeing a trend. So I think for the audience, you might want to make sure you're saying it as early as 4 because you will likely become it. And so if you have kids, nephews, nieces, just send them some things to recite at this point. This is what I'm seeing. Keyshawn, Brittany, Kayla, tell us about your story.
I want to piggyback off of that because my mom, she noticed from an early age that I was interested in math and science, and not even just that I was good at it. So she's like, okay, let me ask around, see what my baby can possibly be. And then she heard about engineering and she decided for me, oh, you're going to be an engineer. Oh, but I think I want to be a singer. No, you're going to be an engineer. So that was pretty much the choices I had. And she put me into different camps, and that's what really sparked that interest even further so that I can continue on with more classes that can teach me additional things in engineering, and then majoring in it in college. I would say, as far as like for the media part, I didn't have like a specific movie growing up that I liked, but after college, I saw a movie called See You Yesterday. It was a Spike Lee joint. It was on Netflix, and it's, if you got a Netflix account, it's free. Go ahead and check it out. I would think all the little babies would love that one because the girl was just time traveling and it had a cultural aspect to it too. So just seeing a group of Black kids just, figuring out all the science, it was lovely. So I would say that's a great movie that can inspire others.
That's good. That's good. I haven't even heard of that one. I'm gonna go look that up right after. I know Kayla's like, wait, what is this? Because I watch all the Spike Lee movies, but that one I have not heard of. But so Kayla and Keyshawn.
Yeah, I can give my story. So mine's maybe a little different. I was kind of a strange kid. Well, I'm a strange adult, but I was like a strange kid as well. And I really liked maps and sort of like reference books a lot. So I remember doing things like reading the definition of the word astronomy, like in a dictionary, and then like going to a planetarium for a field trip with my school and seeing. So there's media, right? The visuals, like the beautiful visualization, the images that really kind of hooked me on why space was something that I might be interested in. And then following that up, my grandma had these, hey, Carissa! my grandma had these encyclopedias from like 1988 or something, before I was born. But I loved them. And so I would go to her house and I would look up words of interest. And so astronomy is one of the words that I thought to look up, or like astronomer, to see, okay, what do they do? If I tell people I want to be this, I need to have a sense of what that means. And so I kind of looked up what the job entails, and it looked like sitting at a computer most of the time. And I was like, perfect. I love that. And so that's what I that's what I do now.
Yes, we love that for you. And one thing that I have learned in this world, the people who we think are quote unquote strange are the people who are hiring us. So Keyshawn, keep it going. And so I think our last person is Kayla, right? Kayla,
Yeah,
tell us
so
all about it.
my story is going to be very different. So somebody who I was a student who really excelled in math and science in school. I wouldn't say for any particular interest that got me there. It was just something that I liked doing and I was pretty good at in school. I went to a school where there weren't many Black students. So whenever I did excel in math and science, I was always honored for it in some type of, diversity, y'all know what I'm in some kind of way like that. So I would say a constant in my life is actually noticing inequities in education and noticing like, okay, why am I getting honored for getting the same grade as somebody, So my passion is for education and for students in equity. So I really got into STEM education because growing up, I always saw that there were inequities in it and I wanted to be part of the change.
Girl, I know that's right. I was one of the only in those honor classes, and they would just shout me out for everything. And I'm like, okay, we all getting the same grade though, but I appreciate you. I love that. I love that. And all of our experiences are different, but some of the unique trends that I saw in our stories is that there was initial interest and there was someone who I like to call them destiny helpers who was in your life that actually made you feel like, yes, you can continue to look in the encyclopedia about astronomy. You can continue to say and believe you're going to work at NASA. And so I hope that everyone here, that you're recognizing that even if it's just one person who believes in what you're just saying, that is enough to help you really see amazing results. So I love that. So the next question we're going on to is that in the Marvel universe, you can grow as big as Giant Man or as small as Ant-Man. What is the strangest thing within your field that you can't believe you have not seen in a movie yet? No one has placed it, no one has written about it, and this is your time to educate all of us about your different fields. So Jessica, I feel like you got a lot to say on this.
Yes, I did. So one of my favorite particles, sorry, you just saw my cat's tail. One of my favorite particles is called a neutrino. There are a few neutrinos, but they're my favorite particle. It's what I did my graduate work on. I actually started working on an experiment back when I was in undergrad, a sophomore in undergrad. And the experiment was a drawing in a computer. And I was able to work on the experiment from inception to creation to data taking to analysis. So it was a really exciting time. And I think that's probably why neutrinos have a special place in my heart. But what's really, really cool about them is one, they're a quantum particle, right? And quantum is cool. But two, they have flavors, right? And I like to think of this like ice cream flavors. So we can have a strawberry neutrino, right? And it's traveling through space and time. And all of a sudden, the strawberry neutrino, it will turn into a chocolate neutrino. And then sometimes the chocolate neutrino will then turn into a vanilla neutrino or back to a strawberry neutrino. And we have theoretical calculations about how many flavors should turn into another flavor and at what rate, but there's still a discrepancy between the calculations that we have and what we are seeing in real life. So at this moment in time, there is a massive hole being dug in South Dakota so we can put an even bigger detector than we've created underground, and we're shooting neutrinos that are being created at my laboratory at Fermilab all the way through the earth to South Dakota to study how many of them switch their flavor. And it's just mind-boggling that neutrinos are just kind of flowing through us all the time. There is about 1 trillion neutrinos passing through the square width of your nail bed every second. It's just, they're all over the place and nobody's talking about them. I don't understand why.
You're going to talk about them. That's what I'm hearing. I love it. I love it. And I actually just want to share this awesome news. In addition to that, it just came out last week that a Black woman is finally a part of a discovery of an element that is on the periodic table. That just came out last week. So when I tell you, I'm waiting on the movie on that as well. Talk about Hidden Figures Part 2. So that is amazing. Everyone click on that link. She is beautiful, amazing, brilliant. And I know that she's going to be in a movie very, very soon, or there's going to be a movie about her. And so anyone else, Dr. Ronald, I feel like you would have a great answer to this.
Oh my gosh, I have so many answers to this question. But I'm just gonna pick one. There's a bunch of stuff there's a bunch of weird stuff that I study that aren't in Marvel films yet. And so there's one of which is, to kind of keep it in line in the quantum theme, it's the theory of quantum gravity. So it's a very weird area of theoretical physics where you're kind of combining the curvature of space-time with quantum physics together to kind of describe gravity on a very, very small, very, very high energetic scale. So we're talking about things still, it's on the scale of neutrinos and even smaller than that, but it's extremely high energies. So you're talking about theories that we can't even experiment it yet because we don't have the technology to test quantum gravity, let alone we're still working out the math for this theory. And so that's something in Marvel films that I would love to see. I would love to see them tap into using gravity in Marvel films. I study gravity, doing black holes. We've got a little instance of wormholes in there. It's a little bit, but if they want to go real gravity, they got to go into quantum gravity, which is very weird in my field. And so that's something that I would love to see in the films.
I feel like, Dr. Ronald, you need to come back with Jessica, and I want to see a presentation from you all, because these are some of the first times I've heard of these things, and I'm sure there's other people in the audience like, wait, how many trillion?
We can give you
Don't
a whole
tempt
bunch
me.
of, look, the Feynman
I'll pull up my
diagrams
slides right now.
Girl, pull up the diagram because I know you got it. Okay.
The Feynman diagrams.
I love this. And for it to be coming from people with melanin, it's just really doing me. Like, I'm enjoying this. I'm very much so enjoying this. And so anyone else want to answer that question? Keyshawn, you always talking about strange. I know you should have something to say.
I can throw something in for this one. So I guess pulling from my subfield of large scale structure, sort of dark matter halos, I'll also keep it in line with the quantum idea. For a film, I think there's an idea that has a lot of potential for like the thematic element of a film, like the meaningful element. And that's, at the beginning of the universe, there were these quantum sort of fluctuate, like 300,000 years after the Big Bang, these sort of quantum fluctuations in like density and temperature, which we can see mapped by analyzing radiation from like microwaves from all over the universe. And it's those small fluctuations that kind of seeded the structure that we now recognize as what we call the cosmic web. So matter throughout the universe is distributed preferentially to be denser in some places and more sparse in others because of those initial little fluctuations in density. And so I think there's a lot of potential value thematically for a film, this idea that small fluctuations can lead to structure of an entire universe given enough like time. There's something really beautiful about that to me. That's one thing I really love about my little corner of astro.
I love it. And anyone else? Are we moving on to the next question? I feel like this is an interview. I'm excited. All right. And so we are moving on to the next question. And I'm really excited about this question because I feel like this is a very philosophical, sociological question. And as someone who, as much as I'm a math girl, I love sociology, I love psychology, and thinking about the world and the social structures around the world. And so in the movie, Kang the Conqueror travels through different universes via the quantum realm. What would be your ideal universe to live in? And what would that universe look like? Now, I want you to really take the time and get real deep with this one and give our audience an amazing answer. I'm really looking forward to what you guys have. I'm going to start with Brittany.
I'm over here thinking like, what would that universe look like for me? I know I would love for, just get rid of all of our problems. Like, we're not going to have any global warming issues at all. We're not going to have to worry about that temperature fluctuating everywhere. But the biggest thing I want to know is that as soon as you have a problem, you just have the answer immediately. Like you just don't even have to think about it. Like, oh, my back ache. Where is that back ache coming from? Oh, I know exactly where that pain is coming from. Like you will have all the answers and you'll be able to be cured immediately. Like there will be no ifs, what, buts. Like we'll just have those answers.
That's really good. That's beautiful. A place where there's always a solution. That's good. Kayla.
I would love for a place that if you have an idea, no matter how crazy it sounds or seems, there is a way to execute it. So like if you can imagine it, there is a way for it to come to life and for it to be real quickly.
Okay, I know the quick success. Come on, that's what she said. I know that's right. I love it. I love it. I love it. And now we want to go to Keyshawn.
I like this question a lot. It's a big one. So I think my ideal universe would probably be a universe that is devoid of like social norms, so long as we're not like hurting others, and then also devoid of power structures, in that I believe we'd be able to accomplish so much more as a species if we were motivated by collaboration and the notion that everyone has something to teach everyone else, as opposed to the very like gatekeepy idea of someone with power keeping resources from someone who wants those resources. So I think my ideal universe would be that one.
I love that. And I love how all of your answers would really serve marginalized communities. And I think that's beautiful that you can even see your own identity coming out in your ideal world. That's beautiful. Dr. Ronald?
Okay, so let's see, an ideal universe. There's so many things here. First, I want quantum gravity, but that's not the right answer here. I would so having thinking about this, I would get rid of the kind of economical or the financial strain on technological advancements. Technological advancements are extremely expensive. And so the experiments, that Jessica has mentioned, some of the experiments that I have worked on and others on the panel, the other things that on the panel has done, it's very expensive to execute those things and it takes a lot of time. So if you get rid of the notion of, well, I have to spend these millions of dollars just to run this experiment once, then we can run it multiple times and advance it faster and faster and further. And then eventually Dr. Gamble can be in a warp drive somewhere and going across the universe or something. And so it's it's a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful philosophy. It's a wonderful dream. Of course, this is very, very far off, but ideally that would be my ideal universe. And then, you could apply that to, then it would trickle down to like curriculums and schools, and you'd have no limitations on what you could do technologically now, because you've gotten rid of the financial strain. Go build something, be great, and then do it again without the strain of money.
Yeah, and I think that would greatly change some of the people who would have made inventions by now. I think that's a great point. Jessica?
Yeah, I love this question. And I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Keyshawn said. I actually recently did a TEDx talk. I know I sound like one of those annoying people, but whatever. I recently did a TEDx talk talking about how we should think about our universe as queer. And I used quantum mechanics to kind of prove that fact that our universe is queer. And there's a couple of, theories that really solidify that that's the case. One of them being superposition, where at the quantum scales, there isn't point particles, but they actually interact as waves. So if we kind of think about that and build it up to our macro world, we could potentially be quantum people and be able to be in many places at one time, which means that we aren't binary, right? We're non-binary folk, and there are other things that I talked about in that. But at the end of the talk, what I really wanted to drive down to is that if in fact the laws of physics at the quantum scales are non-binary, then it isn't a very far leap to assume that everything within that universe is also queer. And queer in the sense of, not the norm, right? Thinking outside of the box, pushing these standards and these norms and thinking outside of them. So in my queer universe, that would be what I would want. Just getting rid of these norms, getting rid of these barriers, these structures that folks that don't look like us put to keep us down, right? And reimagine and redefine everything around us, just like the universe.
Well, talk that talk. Yes, you gave that TED talk, and we all need to know. Okay, that's number one. But please drop the link, and shout out to, I think, Dr. Baxter, who says she already saw it. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. And this next question, it kind of feeds into a lot of what you guys were speaking to in your ideal universe. And that is that in this world that we are in right now, there's a lot of disparity, and there are a lot of discriminations that occur, especially the people at the intersections of different identities. I want us to talk about Black women. And being a Black woman, running an organization for Black women in STEM, this is probably my favorite question of the night. As a STEM professional yourself, what are some ways you want to see the industry evolve for African Americans, for Black women, for Black people globally in the future? And what are some hindrances that you see in the field of specifically? And just for those in the audience who may not know, Black women represent 2% STEM industry globally. And this, I hope you guys can hear me. Are we good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, but you were cutting
Okay.
out. Can you repeat yourself?
Yes, I was saying, what are some hindrances you see in the field of science, especially for Black women? And what ways do you want the industry to evolve for African Americans and Black women in the future? Did we hear that?
It went in
Okay.
and out a little bit, but
Oh, no.
I will say that with my experience working in being in the workforce, I've come to see myself being the only one, as I'm sure we all have. And then when I felt comfortable enough to, kind of ask upper leadership, why is that? Why is it that you're not targeting these specific areas? And they'll just simply say, we don't know where to find them. And that is really something that's driven me to make sure that we're more visible, because they act as if we're just, anomalies. We're glad we already have you. We don't need to, reach out and figure out how to get more of you. And it wasn't really until 2020 when you really hear more companies over here saying, oh, we have all these DEI initiatives. We're with you. We actually care. Okay. We know that you care, but you care this year. Let's make sure that you care all the rest of the year, so that way we can increase the numbers that are actually in your company and beyond. So that way we can inspire those who are coming up to actually be, to be motivated enough to pursue this field. So that's something I've really seen in the workforce, where they haven't really put in that effort to try to make sure that there's actual numbers there.
Yeah, that is so good. And many are reporting on how many companies have not fulfilled their DEI requirements, and it is 3 years later. So thank you for calling that out. I posted the question in the chat as well, just in case, and happy to hear from Jessica. I would love to hear from you on this.
Yeah, I mean, this is my big thing, right? I think it's all of our big things. I think specifically what I've noticed in my field is that there is a real focus on recruitment. And for a long time, I was on that bandwagon, not recognizing that there are, I like to now call it the 3 R's, that you need to also focus on retention and representation. And there was like this something gnawing at me, especially when organizations would like trot me out and talk about how awesome it is to be in science, to be a physicist. And like, while those things were true, I did really love the science I do, really love the science that I do. The culture was toxic. The environments were toxic. And I had to go through many, many traumas to just be in the room doing the science. And it felt immoral for me to be telling these young kids that look like me to go into a trauma-ridden area, right? So it was kind of that coupled with a lot of other things that happened that really shifted my focus to the representation and the retention portion of these organizations, specifically the retention, because that is an introspective conversation that needs to be happening internally as to why you are pushing out amazing Black excellent talent. Right? It is not because you cannot find them. It is not because they're not good enough. It's because you are pushing out the talent that you have or that you could have. Right? Like that's the problem. And I just want to also talk about that hindrance, right? Like, how is science being affected by not having Black women? How is science being affected by not having BIPOC and Black folk? And I'm going to bring it back to something that's really prevalent right now, COVID, right? I am at high risk to get COVID. I got it back in August, right after my TED talk. And it knocked me on my, I was out for 2 weeks. I had fevers. It was like hit or miss type of thing. And we were using a forehead thermometer to check my temperature. And I was telling my wife, I'm feverish. I'm telling you, I'm going from shivers to sweats. But that thermometer wasn't reading that I was at have a high temperature. And it's because the thermometer has infrared technology. But they tested and produced and manufactured this technology using light skin, using white skin. And the melanin in our skin affects how that is read. That's the same type of technology that's in oximeters that read the oxygen levels in your body, which is also an issue with regards to COVID. Back to the thermometer, it is 26% ineffective for Black people. If we had a Black person in the room developing that tech, do you think that would have happened? This is why science needs us. It's not the other way around. We don't need science. Science needs us.
You better preach. Listen, I love it. I love it. I love it.
To just kind of piggyback off of what everyone else has already said, accountability needs to happen. It's not that the talent doesn't exist. It's not that, we are so, just so hard to find. It's not like finding a needle in a haystack. It's about accountability. It's about where are you looking? Where are you recruiting? How are you retaining people? What is the culture like that makes people want to stay, and work in that field at your company? It's about accountability. And of course, like systemically in our country, we see Black people not exceeding in all types of spaces. But then when you look at STEM and it's a space where people are even smaller than the percentage that we represent in the country, the amount of power that is held within STEM specifically is crazy. It's scary. And until that power comes with accountability, we won't see much of a change. So I definitely want to see accountability for those people who do have that power in the STEM field to be a part of the change.
That is amazing. That's really good. And I'm gonna let us go into the last question because it's connected to what you guys just answered. But how can we open up the door for the next generation of Black leaders in STEM fields? What advice would you give to Black women and men trying to break into STEM?
Okay, I'm gonna jump on this one. So I would tell them, just you have to really, really be, and when I say really, really, like it's all caps, you have to really, really be your most authentic self. And if you do that and you stick with it and you have that tenacity and you follow these passions that you have, then you are only going to either succeed, or if you trip, you're going to fall on your successes. And so there's no other path from there. If you keep following it, if you keep sticking to it, then you're going to get it. Like the panel that you see today is a representation of that. Some in the audience is a representation of that. And so there's other examples out there, and being your most authentic self means that, you have to bring, kind of your full identity. I'm an Afro-Latino, so part of my family is from Panama. And so there'll be times when, yes, we might be talking in English. I might say something in Spanish at work. And so my coworkers, they acknowledge that. They have to acknowledge that because that's part of Dr. Ronald Gamble. And if they don't, then they're not accepting my full self. I'm also an artist, so I'm a painter. And so it's a combination of everything that makes up your identity, right? To carry on with you and develop it as you go further and further into the field. And then it helps you communicate, it helps you mentor, reach back others. And then you are teaching also the next generation after you by example. And so it's a feedback loop. If you have successes and someone else is watching you and your successes, and they're going to say, well, I can do that too. I didn't know there were Panamanian theoretical astrophysicists. Well, there's one. Why not two? Why not three or four? And so that's what I would say. And I tell this to all the students that I've mentored in the last 10, 15 years or so. They have to be their most authentic self. And if you do that, then you can't fail at yourself either, right? So you have to pour that success back into yourself and keep going and keep going and keep going and don't stop. And if you get enough, keep going. Don't stop until you get enough. But that's what I would say for the next generation of these Black leaders. They're out there. They just need that push to just say, keep going. We see you, keep going.
We see you, keep going. I love that. Brittany?
Everything you just said is exactly what was coming to mind for me, because I wanted to say to everyone on this call, just by existing in your field, you are an inspiration to somebody else. And when they can see you and everything that you're doing, they'll be inspired to do that themselves. So reach back, just as he was saying, making sure that somebody else is able to see all the work that you're doing and understand that it's not impossible for them. There's a mentor in each and every one of us, but we just have to realize that just because it was simple for you or you already overcame it doesn't mean that you can't impart that wisdom on somebody else. You can already, since you've overcome it, it may just become back of mind for you. And I do this all the time. But when you start talking to someone else who hasn't gone through it, who hasn't had that same experience, then you can already guide them to become that next great person and overachieve what you've already done. And it may have been, a lot harder for you. It'll be much more simple for them. So I would say, make sure you're imparting that wisdom, becoming a mentor, giving back to those younger, to that younger generation. So that way you can be that next generation of role models by becoming a doctor, by working at NASA. Everybody is going to want to be exactly what you are.
I love that. Any last final thoughts on that question?
I think.
But you can go first.
Go ahead, Keyshawn.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay. So quickly, I would want to say that, okay, I'll just give this analogy, right? If I were to use a bottle of shampoo that's not specifically formulated for Black hair, it's not made for me. That doesn't mean that I can't use it or that it won't serve me in some way. It just means that I can't use the instructions as they appear on the back of the bottle, because those were not written for me, right? Being in STEM is like that. It's not made for us as Black folks, as queer folks, as disabled folks, whatever. It's not made for us. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you have to do it your way. There's going to be a lot of people telling you the way to do it or how you should be doing it. Sometimes you just have to tune people out, because you know you and you know what works for you, and you have to show up, as everyone's saying, as yourself, like unabashedly. And it's going to make people uneasy sometimes, but that's a them problem, not a you problem.
Right. Jessica?
You should have gone after me, damn it. Okay, what everybody said is like spot on. The only thing that I would add is to get comfortable with failure. And it sounds like what? But that is literally what the scientific model is, right? To test a hypothesis. If it comes out that your hypothesis is wrong, you dust yourself off, you come up with another idea and you test that. It's failure. And it's so much easier to fail when you're showing up as your authentic self. because you're not worrying about, are they looking at me because of this? Do they think I failed because of blah, 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 blah? All that noise in your head is taken away from the amazing science that you can do. So yes, fail and fail often.
I love this. It was so good. So good. I hope you guys took notes. I just want to lastly give us some announcements before we hand it back off to Karina. Number one, the release date of the film is February 17th, coming up very, 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 very soon. Make sure to share your thoughts about this amazing panel. Even this last question alone is a lot of tweets for y'all. And make sure to post it on social media and follow these handles and at these handles on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Ant-Man Official, at Ant-Man Official. And then use the hashtags Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And so I can even go ahead and just put those in the chat really quickly. And I would love to hand it off to Karina and team for the giveaway trivia. And before I do that, I just want to thank all the panelists. Y'all are phenomenal. And I am so happy you guys decided to take time to be with us today. Thank you guys. And thank you guys all for coming as well. And I hope you guys win the giveaway.
All right, thank you so much, Diana, and thank you everybody for such an incredible discussion. I hope that everyone that attended had a great time. So now we have some Fandango codes to see the movie for free, and the great things about these codes is that you can see this movie whenever you want, at whatever theater you want. All you have to do is just plug in that code and you're good to go. Which is my favorite kind of thing, because that means that I don't have to go to like a specific screening or whatever. So here we go. We have some trivia questions. The way that this is going to work is what we need you to do is just type in the answer into the chat, and the first person who sends it in is the person who gets the prize. So that means you got to be a really fast typer. I used to be a transcriptionist, so like I'm kind of a cheater, but lucky for you guys, I'm not playing. So I'm just giving out the prizes. So here we go. All right, fingers ready. Yes, get your fingers ready. All right, first one. Who is the new villain in Quantumania? Dr. Raven Baxter. Looks like you've got a couple tickets.
Samantha Smith, actually, I think was first.
Oh, no. I think it was Dr. Raven Baxter. Or it could be Samantha Smith and Dr. Raven Baxter. Let's do it that way. So Miles is going to be messaging you guys. And just be sure to give him your email address so we can send that over to you. All right, next question. Scott Lang was placed into house arrest for assisting who of these? This is multiple choice. A, Dr. Bruce Banner. B, Iron Man. C, Thor. Or D, Captain America. I think that was Nana, right? Yep, that was Nana. All right, perfect. So yep. Nana, you got some tickets coming your way. Miles will be messaging you. Just give him your email so we can send those after the panel. All right. Next question. Okay, so we've already said that Kong is going to be the new villain that's coming up in this movie, but he's shown up before, so in the MCU. So in the MCU, what property was he first introduced in? That was Ian. So Ian, be sure to send over to Miles your email address. Oh, here's a bonus for this as a follow-up for this one. And this might be a little bit of a head scratcher for you. What was the name of the episode in which he was introduced? I feel this might be more of a Google round. Oh wow, Nana was on it. Nana was on it. Okay. All right. Okay. I guess we'll be giving her two tickets. Okay. So, all right, here's the next one. Who plays the Wasp in the Marvel movies? Okay, yes, it is Evangeline. Miles, should we give some to Tamisha as well? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. But you didn't put her last name, Lily. Evangeline Lilly. All right. So, okay, here's the fifth one. Who is Ant-Man's best friend's name? Stacy. She got it. All right. Just the last few coming up. All right. So this one's a really hard one, guys. Like if you have to Google this for a while, I don't blame you. What is the release date for the new Quantumania movie? Dr. Baxter's just collecting all the Fandango codes at this point. Let's see. Okay, let's give Miles. We'll give one to both Tamisha and to Samantha, it was the 17th, not the 16th. Miles, should we give one to Dr. Baxter and Tamisha?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Oh my goodness.
Everybody going.
Everybody going. All right. Okay. Final two questions here. What technology powers Ant-Man's suits? All right. That's correct. Okay. Last one, guys. Who is the director of the latest Ant-Man and the Wasp film? Yeah, what's his last name? Okay. Okay, we'll give it to both of you, I think. All right. All right, I think that's it for the on the trivia end. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Dr. Baxter, I hope you get a party bus for all the tickets that you got from this trivia. And everyone else, I hope you enjoy your prizes as well. And thank you so much again to all the panelists. Thank you so much for partnering with us to host this conversation. We really appreciate this. And yeah, we hope that you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.